Welcome to the People of DearDoc, an DearDoc Podcast, the show that brings you closer to the heart of our company. I'm your host, Billy, and each week we'll take you on a journey behind the scenes to meet the incredible individuals who drive our company's success. From marketing to product development, HR to sales, we're here to showcase the real people, the real stories, and the real passion that makes our workplace extraordinary. Whether you're a new hire that's eager to learn about our culture, or a seasoned pro looking to connect with colleagues that you've never met, this podcast is your invitation to join us in celebrating the unique talent that makes us who we are. So grab your favorite headphones, settle in, and get ready to meet the faces behind the roles as we dive deep into the heart of our company. It's time to discover the stories that inspire us, the ideas that drive us in the incredible journey that is DearDoc. Welcome to the People of DearDoc, an DearDoc Podcast. Let's get started. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the People of DearDoc. Today joining us is one of the highly respected SDRs here at DearDoc, Mr. Henry Haas. Henry, how are we doing today?
What's going on, Billy? I'm doing well. I'm out in Long Island today, just working, dialing for dollars, and doing my thing. What about you?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm in the office today, as usual,
Nice.
chilling.
There you go.
Um, Different scenery for you on Long Island, right? Where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Westport, Connecticut. Grew up there my whole life, and then I went to Elon University. Was a marketing major, Spanish minor there. Um, and yeah, so I'm just out at my girlfriend's house today. So
Cool.
just working.
So before coming here, were you just in school or did you have like a job or internship in between?
So this is my first job out of school.
Okay.
And before that, I mean, just like my whole work experience, I guess I'll just kind of lay it down for you. But I mean, just like any, you know, I guess like a lot of high schoolers in my town or anything like that, I was a lifeguard, which was pretty sweet. I was a
Okay.
lifeguard for 4 summers at a country club called Shorehaven. Loved my time there. It was great. And then my last summer I think was 2020, so like kind of mid COVID. And then a couple summers after that, I did an internship with a venture capital company. It was actually in Manhattan as well. It was right in Midtown. What I was doing there is working directly for one of their portfolio companies, which was also a startup, just like DearDoc. It's called Thanks. It's essentially like a corporate gifting platform for like businesses to use for kind of like customer retention. And they pulled from different vendors like Amazon, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, you name it. And basically you could use it like in business interactions or just kind of like a consumer interaction. You
Okay.
get on the platform and then it's basically like through email, and they have different ways of delivering these kind of like gestures, as they call them. So it's a pretty neat experience. And then, um, yeah, it's kind of my work
Wait,
experience
so
before DearDoc.
what did you do exactly there?
So my role was basically just kind of like as an intern, I was doing a lot of like marketing projects with the company. One of them was I was working with another intern to create sort of like a calculation system for
Mhm.
how companies would apply thanks to different departments. So things like sales, operations, HR, marketing. Those are the main four that we did. And then after that, we worked closely with the CMO to kind of like build that out. And since then, they've been kind of using it to sort of like track their metrics for when businesses use it, how effective it is. And then, the other things I was doing was like competitive analysis or, kind of social media analysis, anything like that, just to help increase traffic.
Right. So kind of like leveraging like the major you were going to is marketing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it was kind of honestly a perfect role, just sort of like for an overview.
Mhm.
And then having worked with the startup, it gave me a good idea about kind of like where I wanted to be, sort of the culture that I wanted to have with a job going forward. And getting to learn more about venture capital through like working with them was really neat too.
Right.
Um, our CEO was great, the CEO of the company. CFO was awesome too. So like we got to kind of observe what they do. VC is just, it's a crazy world. It's really, really interesting. So kind
Yeah,
of
it's a
getting
different
that
world, right?
so getting that like entrepreneurial perspective about it was really neat. But I loved it. It was a great experience for me.
So, what made you pivot from like your marketing stuff to now like obviously you're working in sales, you're on the sales side.
Yeah.
What was the deciding factor like to leave like the marketing side and kind of go into the sales essentially?
Yeah, good question. I think there's a lot of nobility in starting in sales. It's obviously a very like it's not the easiest job. It's a little tough, and especially like what we do, for prospecting, we cold call. Like there's a variety of different responses that you can get, which I'm sure as a fellow SDR as well. Um, but I wanted to shift into sales because I think there are a lot of intangible skills that you gain from it that you wouldn't necessarily develop with other roles. Being able to kind of converse with people and just try to be who you are, like, and then just through like you're basically a voice. With
Hmm.
cold calling, it's just your voice, and people can't see you. So those kinds of skills are just something that I found was really admirable, and it kind of does tie in a little bit to marketing and sort of like everything behind how people discover who we are.
Yeah,
So I love the pivot that I made. I'm really glad I'm in a sales role now. My dad also started in sales, and I look up to him a lot. He's had a great career in sales, so I'm kind of like wanted to follow suit a little bit with the first part of my career.
yeah, no, definitely. It's interesting too because sales is one of those skills that whether it's like your lifelong career for yourself or maybe you go back into marketing or something completely different,
Yeah,
you're going to be
ex-
using these
exactly.
skills.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's very, very versatile, very applicable to different kind of like areas of business. So
Yep.
I'm super glad and super thankful I have the role.
I saw an interview. Somebody asked Mark Cuban if he could go back and like had to restart from scratch, like what he would do, and he said the first thing he would do is get into sales again
Yeah,
and like relearn
because
that
he
skill
started
set.
in cold calling, didn't he?
I think it was something like that. Yeah, some kind of like
Yeah.
cold outreach, probably cold calling. And
Yeah.
you see a lot of successful people start in positions very similar to us.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's so true.
Kind of walk us through like how you found DearDoc, how you started coming into the office, and like what made you ultimately take working here.
Definitely. So, out of college, so I had graduated, and after graduation, I still hadn't had a job. I just knew that if I was putting in the time, putting in the effort, eventually something would kind of come up for me. Um, and I was looking on LinkedIn, as people do.
Hmm.
It's kind of like the main source of prospecting for a job, looking for a role. And I came across DearDoc, and I was looking at the SDR position. And then I clicked on the position, and under the description, it said one connection works here. And I was like, oh, interesting. Like, so I clicked it, and it was JP Trabalsi, who is now an account executive here. Um, we went to school together. We were in the same fraternity, and we were pretty close. So I texted him, and I was like, hey, I found this opportunity. What do you think of the job? And so he gave me a lot of insight about how it works, what it is, what the company's like, and it kind of sounded up my alley. So I shot out an application. A day later, Sophie responded, and we set up an interview. So we were kind of going through that process, and then I think like a week later. So now this is probably like late June. Um, Around a week later, I came into the office for my in-person interview. And beforehand, I had heard two 45-minute interviews. I was like, oh my God, like that's so long. Like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what's going to happen. But I interviewed with Jeremy and Alyssa, and Jeremy and I were just kicking it at the beginning. Then we went through the interview, and it was very like conversational. And I just thought, like, what an awesome like vibe, like what a great place to be. And then obviously speaking with Alyssa too was amazing. She's phenomenal. So having that experience, like speaking with them, getting to know more about the company, but also who they were as people and kind of how they started, It's like I could definitely see myself kind of like fitting into those shoes and, you know,
Yeah.
making a difference at a place like this. So I was super thrilled to get the opportunity. Then I accepted, and here I am.
So if somebody would have back to you when you first sat down with Alyssa and said, in like a few months, you're going to be dressed up as Alyssa on Halloween, would you believe them?
No, like not at all. Not at all. The way that came up was actually really funny too. I was talking with Christine and um, who else? Kate and Gina, and they were like, "Oh, we're like being, Eric or whoever they were for Halloween." And Alyssa kind of like dropped into the conversation. She was like walking by and she had like heard what we were talking about, and she was like, "Oh, Henry, like you should go as me." And I was like, I laughed and I'm like, wait, that could actually work. And so we like started planning it out. She ordered me the wig, everything like that, and I like I like tucked my pants into my socks and everything like that. And would I have expected that a couple months ago? Absolutely not. But that's the way it
Yeah,
rolls. That's the way it works.
that
So
costume is
super.
hilarious. Like looking from afar, it's like that actually could be Alyssa.
Yeah,
She's
it's
gonna
so
look like
funny.
she's the best. So it was a funny costume you actually ended up doing. I kind
Yeah,
of want
it
to give
was
you
great.
some props because I feel like people don't want to, not boost themselves, but I mean, you deserve like all the credit that's given to you.
Thank
You
you.
come in here and like, after training, you finished over 200% of your goal, which is I
Hmm.
haven't personally seen it here. I think you're one of like the select few that's actually accomplished a task like that. What went into,
Thanks.
not just like hitting your goal, but doubling it that made you so successful in
Yeah.
like that short amount of time?
Well, thank you for the credit. I really appreciate it. That's a good question. I mean, I think just being able to, and first I got to give a whole lot of credit to Shane Hogan. I mean, going through training, kind of like learning everything, he set us up beautifully to just start being comfortable on the phones, and then obviously, with like the conscious competence and then unconscious competence, just getting your reps in.
Mhm.
And literally, like we talk about the law of comp, like it is so true. Just literally, if you're able to sit there and just kind of, I don't want to say go through motions, but find out, okay, what could I have done differently on this call? Like, why did this doctor book as opposed to this doctor? Because
Right.
of what I said. Because 93% is what you say. Um, so being able to kind of like analyze that and find maybe different variations of what you say that work, or like ways to separate how you build value versus stressing urgency versus accommodating, even like
Mhm.
it's all kind of part of a process. And I give a lot of credit to you as well, Billy, because one of the things that I did at the very beginning was I asked, I know I asked you, I asked a couple of other SDRs like Matt Stead. Um, there are a few others in there. I asked them to send me their calls where they felt they did a strong job, like objection handling, and kind of like techniques that they used to help build value, or just whatever it was, different things with their tone. Um, Listening to that was super, super effective for me.
Mm.
And then I think kind of like applying what I do to those calls, and kind of like, it was more of an application process. So I think that was great. And then obviously a huge um, shout out to our AEs as well, getting the holds, getting the sales.
Nice.
That was great. So yeah, honestly, credit all around.
Awesome. Yeah. Hats off. So it's
Thank
been
you.
what, 3 months now, or about 3 months?
Yeah, like 2.5 months.
Yeah, going on 3 months now.
Yep.
You've been here for a short amount of time, but I'm sure you got to do like a lot of cool stuff here. What's one of like your favorite memories since working here at DearDoc?
Hmm. Good question. I mean, there's a ton. Um, I think like, well, it was interesting. Like the first, before like training actually started, we had like the company-wide meeting, where everybody's kind of like sitting, around in the green room, or not the green room, you know, just in front of like the camera, in front of the TV, and
Yep.
seeing the way everybody kind of like interacted and what people were talking about. It's like, okay, there's definitely something, different here. And the way that people were like, high-fiving each other, laughing with each other. It definitely kind of resonated with me because I was like, wow, I really came into a place that culture is so important, and especially with a startup. And, we just being able to like witness that firsthand from the get-go was like amazing.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things like I kind of just saw myself fitting in and had to take, a few initiatives to do that. But like being able to witness that just from the very beginning, I think that's a core memory with me where like even from the very first minute, I was like, wow, this place is special.
Yeah, I love that. I relate to that a lot too, because it's like the first time you come in, like it's real. It's like, yeah, you can see it online. You maybe come here in-person interview, and like you kind of see what's going on. It seems cool, but when you're actually immersed in it and you're part of like the team, which you
Yeah,
are once you sign on, um, it's something special. It's hard to explain, but it's like that feeling you get here, and it's like a pure excitement every time you come in, because it really is something special we're doing here, and everyone here is there to help you, and like you just, it's different, you know?
totally. Yeah. And like even in the middle of that week, I was with Luke and like we were training together and then we were shadowing for a little bit. Like we got the opportunity to sit in on, the SDR's calling for about like 15 to 30 minutes. And like I hear the calls going on. I'm like, whoa, like they're like just so fast, like so quick, sharp. And just being able to see that too was like, whoa, like I'm gonna be doing that at some point.
Yep.
It was kind of one of those
Yeah.
realization moments for me. Um, and then now, here I am 2.5 months later, like I'm I'm one of those people, it's like it just,
You definitely are.
it feels that way. And like it's really amazing to be a part of.
Sweet. So, what are you into like outside of work besides coming in here, crushing your goal? What do you do
Yeah,
at home? What kind of other interests do you have?
definitely. I love sports. I'm a huge, huge sports fan. I was a really competitive runner in high school. Um, so I mean, I don't really do that as much anymore, but like um, anything, basketball, football, whatever it may be. I'm a huge NBA fan, big Celtics fan.
Subjects.
So yeah, go C's, baby. So literally, anything along those lines. I'm just starting to get into like reading more, which I think is a really great and healthy habit to have. Um, Recently I've been slacking a little bit, but I'm trying to trying to get back into it. But love that. And then I don't know, I love trying new food too. Like,
Ooh.
different restaurants, different cuisines, whatever it may be.
What's
Um,
your favorite kind of food?
Favorite kind of food is probably Italian or Chinese. Um, Love a good Italian dish.
Yep.
Like sushi, anything like that.
I love a good
Um,
Italian dish, sushi.
Yeah, probably should have like segued a little more, but
So good.
yeah, Segu, exactly. But yeah, I mean, those are probably my two favorite cuisines. I can rock with anything though. Like, just love food. I don't know. Food is
Big food
great.
guy over here.
Huge food guy.
Did you
Huge
do
food
like
guy.
pasta nights before track? That's like a thing, right?
Yeah, pasta dinners. We used to do pasta dinners a lot, and we would like go to people's houses or just have them at school. We'd walk in, be like three huge trays of pasta, and like, it was honestly a great like bonding experience for our team too, because you're all there, you're kind of just like chatting, eating pasta, and then the next day, we had a really competitive team, so it was like kind of our chance to sort of like loosen the reins a little bit.
Right.
Kind of like, we weren't focused on practice or like workouts, tempo runs, long distance runs, you name it. Um, we kind of just got to like all eat together and just like talk about our weeks and laugh, joke around. And then the next day, it's like a complete switch. You're locked in, meet day, race day.
It's like the
So
calm before the storm.
exactly, exactly, yeah. But that was what I got with that team, which is great. So
Cool. We're gonna segue now into one of my favorite
go.
parts. It's like a semi-rapid fire kind of question thing.
Yeah,
First thing comes to mind, just shoot it out. So I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna steal the message or the question from TJF today. If you could star in any movie or a type of movie, what would it be?
yeah. So couple answers. First would be like, I like sports movies. I think they're pretty cool. It's kind of like a success story, rags to riches story almost.
Yep.
But like something like Rudy or like Remember the Titans, something with that kind of plot line,
Hmm.
where like, all this adversity kind of comes in and, this team, this group, this person, whatever it is, remains victorious or like, goes from bottom to top. Something like that is kind of like a plot that I would really like to be a part of. And then something honestly like Avatar would be sick too.
Ooh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely awesome.
like being able to like go from this like human aspect to like all of a sudden you're in a portal and then you're just like flying and doing basically whatever you want.
Yep.
Like
Would
it's
you
sick.
choose like the water one, or would you choose like when on the land?
Oh,
Trees.
good question. Probably the land one.
The land. Yeah, I'm with you
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah, I think I don't know, just a lot more versatility there. And like
Cool.
I don't know, I just found it was
So you could have one superpower. What would it be, and why?
easily teleportation.
How come?
100% teleportation. I think it'd be very useful, and I think it would be sick just to be able to, go anywhere. For example, today, if, when I take my lunch break, like if I wanted to go to like the best restaurant in Italy, boom, I like snap of a finger, I'm there. Or like, or something, like let's say somebody also was, like a family member was in trouble or something like that and needed help. Like again, snap of a finger, you're right there.
Yeah.
Just takes no energy. It doesn't have to. You don't have to like have a financial burden for like travel or anything like that. Just if you could teleport, you're right there.
Love it. And this is my favorite question. So you could lead your country to victory in an Olympic sport that you create. It doesn't have to be an actual sport, like actual things going on. It could be like tying your shoes, for example. What sport are you leading your country to victory in the Olympics?
Man, oh, that's such a good question. Um, wow, this threw me. I have no idea. Um, a sport that I could create. Um, I would love to see like mini basketball
Mini basketball?
in the Olympics. Yeah, yeah, I think that would be sick. Um, we used to like when I was younger, me and my family friends used to like post up a little hoop on like the a doorway,
Yep.
and then we'd play like 2v2, 1v1, whatever it was, and just throw down the craziest dunks that we could think of.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
Those are the
like a
best.
little bit of like a bigger version of that, bigger room, like whatever. Seeing mini basketball in the Olympics would be unbelievable. Probably not super
That'd be
fun to
hilarious.
watch, to be honest, but it'd just be
Especially if it
so
wasn't
fun.
in like an actual like basketball court setting. It's like in like a basement or a
Yeah,
house
it's
like
in
that.
like an actual like room somewhere. Yeah, that'd be so funny.
That would make
So
it. So we're
yeah,
gonna transition to like wrapping up here. What's like one
yeah.
piece of advice you'd give to somebody coming in, as a brand new SDR, or maybe like they're at a rough point in their SDR career to crush their goals?
Definitely. I think for incoming SDRs, um, I mean I know this is kind of like a popular like phrase for incoming SDRs, but it really is just like so true. Like be a sponge. Literally just any question that comes to the top of your head, do not be afraid to ask it. Because if you're incoming, training can be difficult. It can be intimidating. There are a lot of things that you have to think about, a lot of things that, a lot of information coming at you. And I remember after the first day, like I got home and I literally just like sat on my couch and like almost passed out, fell asleep because I was like, there's it's a lot.
Yep.
But just take it and run with it, make notes, ask questions, and just learn. And then for somebody who's kind of in like a little bit of a difficult period with their career as an SDR at DearDoc, say just like stick to the process. Like I'd actually been talking about this with somebody recently. There's a difference between your behavior and your attitude.
Mm.
Behaviors are actions that you take. Your attitude is how you feel about the actions that you take. Obviously, if sales is very ebbs and flows, like there's a lot of those, and you're gonna go through stretches where maybe things like just aren't going your way, or you are having trouble with booking meetings, closing meetings, etc. The one thing that you can control is your behavior.
Right.
So if you just keep that in mind and say like, am I behaving properly? If the answer is no, okay, change that.
Right.
Like do more or think differently. Like one of our values, think differently, think on your feet.
Hmm.
Discover what works for you as a person rather than just as an SDR. Um, and then like obviously, our goal is like 200 dials. If you're not hitting that, change your behavior and hit it.
Yep.
Just keep your head down, keep crushing it, and then eventually things will come. And if things do come, eventually your attitude will change, which helps results too.
Love it. Henry, thanks for coming on, sharing a lot of amazing stuff with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Billy.
I'm going to volunteer you for this. If anyone has any questions, I'm sure you're more than welcome to answer them, whether it's like
I'd
in the
love to.
company via Slack or maybe somebody new who wants to join here. Probably open on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
hit me
a
up on
resource to have
LinkedIn. I'm
people.
available. I'd love to be a resource. That's another thing too. Use your resources. It's another one.
Huge.
But I'd be more than happy to be one. And Billy, again, thank you for having me, man. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely, dude.
All right.